Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mayfly Disc Golf. Disc golf made by amateurs for amateurs. My name's Andrew, and I'm here with a special guest, Mr. Nick Essery. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for being here. We're going to be doing a full round coverage of Arcadia Lake in Edmond, Oklahoma, with Nick and several of his friends. We're looking at hole one, par three, 248 feet. Can you give us kind of a hole breakdown on this?
Yeah, it's a little bit uphill, wide open though. Had a really good day today, no wind, so we won't talk much about wind. But yeah, the basket's right under that big tree on the right. Um, yeah, just straight look at it.
That's great.
So yeah,
And what
Brian
kind
went
of
first with a forehand, and then Blake and I went backhand. This is Blake's putt.
Yeah, it seems like it's a good first hole just to kind of leave you an open shot, something real simple, really easy.
Yeah, and I like this angle. You can see the lake behind us. We are at Arcadia Lake, which kind of hints the name, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it's a beautiful area out there too.
so Brian and Blake went first. They parred, and I had a really short putt there for birdie. Started off good there.
That's great. Now, I've never played out at Arcadia Lake, but can you tell me, is it a mainly wooded course?
Yeah, it's pretty wooded. A few holes are open, like number one, but for the most part, this is pretty common what you see here on number two. Kind of tunnel shots, not a lot of distance on it. We're actually playing the red course, which I think is shorter than blue, which is a little bit longer, I think.
That's great. Yeah, I saw about 212 feet for hole two here.
Yep. Yeah, I threw a forehand in the left trees there. Blake goes backhand with the buzz, and then Brian with his Halo Destroyer. Brian, this guy right here, all he throws is forehands. Really good shot for him right there. Hits the hole.
Yeah, he actually had kind of a great throw, got a nice amount of flip up on that destroyer, and seemed like it put himself pretty well in the fairway.
Yep, that's my shot out of the tree. Got a good kick, so just lay up there. Blake's looking at a putt here from his mid-range buzz drive.
Yeah, and I could kind of tell that from the tee position, they really kind of set you up for more of a forehand line. So I saw that, one of your friends there was, playing off the tee pad, which, in some cases is legal in professional, and I'm certainly in casual play. There's, no stress for, you know, not playing off a tee pad or, giving yourself a little extra room.
Yeah, that's one of the comments we keep making about Arcadia. The tee pads are about 4 feet long, so playing off the pads is really challenging. Brian with a birdie there, his forehand drive was perfect. So
Now, hole three, 227 feet, another kind of short course or a short hole. From what I can tell, this looks like very similar shot shaping to the last one, just a
Yep.
little extra distance.
that's it. Forehand. Try to just find a hole there. Catch the trees again on the left. Brian had a perfect shot on his first one. I catch the tree again. And then now Blake's up with the forehand.
And then while these guys are finishing up their tee-offs, how long have you been playing disc golf, Nick?
Actually, all three of us started during COVID. This was kind of a COVID thing we got into summer of 20. We were all either working from home, or just trying to find something to do. So we got out and started playing frisbee golf. This is only about 2.5 years into it for us. Being in our early 40s, we had to find something that was easy and something that was cheap. So this is what we settled on, was frisbee golf.
Yeah, and that seems to be kind of a trend ever since COVID. It seems like, disc golf has gotten very popular, especially within the last year or two. Gained some major popularity after the Holy Shot by James Conrad.
Yeah, exactly. We've all been watching YouTube videos, and you go buy some discs and get to go out. And Arcadia is an interesting one. You do have to pay to get into the park. It's one of the only pay to play places that we go. I'm sure there's others, but yeah, Brian there with a nice birdie again, get to 2 under.
That's excellent. Now, hole four, even shorter, 184 feet.
Yeah.
Tell me about this one.
This one's weird. It is very short, but it's super dogleg right. So if you don't throw just an incredible, hyzer forehand, there's no way to get around it really easy. So we are all throwing forehands here. And you can see it's kind of an awkward distance and you can't go up either. There's trees above you off the tee. So it's just kind of an awkward dogleg right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it weren't for all the branches hanging above, you might be able to throw sort of a, turnover backhand, if you're predominantly backhand, but with the height issue, I mean, it just makes it so much more difficult.
Yeah, there is no. I've played here since we videoed, and we look up, and it's just trees. So I think a really long putt here would be your best chance for a birdie. I'm sure guys can do it, but we're 2 years into our amateurs, so
Right.
it is hard for us.
And I'm guessing these are all for par.
Yes, yeah. I
Excellent.
think everybody pars this one. It's an easy par, even if you hit trees early, or if you can just get about 60 feet off the tee pad, you're looking right at the basket.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best. These shorter holes are sometimes the most deceiving just because you don't expect them, especially with such a difficult shot shape, just makes it so much more difficult. And so, hole 5 here, 243 feet.
Yeah, again, either a forehand or kind of a flip up backhand with a lot of ante on it would be good here. I think that's what I end up trying to do. Brian went first with forehand. Gets one out to the left side, but you can see the tall grass off the fairway in Arcadia is fun. It doesn't help you to get out in the grass in most cases.
Yeah. Yeah, I do appreciate that they kind of, clear a path and give you somewhat of a fairway to have an idea of where you want to throw and how you want to throw it. It seems like a beautiful course.
Yep. Yeah, Blake and I both went with Buzz, trying to get it flipped up a little bit, but just didn't quite get them. I think most of us are going to shoot for par here. Brian with a good upshot.
Yeah, that's a great approach.
Brian predominantly throws, like I said, forehand, loves his destroyer. He throws the destroyer almost every throw.
Mm-hmm.
Had to look at, I think, birdie, but
Yeah, honestly, that was a great bid. Just a little off right. Really, when you're at that distance and when you've got, you can kind of see on the ground there that there's, some fallen leaves and dead grass that really helps stop that disc from going anywhere. So taking a bid, from 60, 70 feet isn't a bad idea because your disc is going to hit the ground and fortunately just stay there.
yeah, a lot of fallen limbs too, a lot of debris out there to slow it down or stop it. I think we're all in for par here.
Yeah. Really looking like a pretty good round. And so with hole 6, 202 feet.
Yeah, this is an interesting hole. You've either got to go to the left or go to the right. It's back there, the basket's between all those little trees. So either way you go, forehand hyzer, backhand hyzer. I'm in the trees for sure. I think Brian was as well.
Yeah, so is the basket tucked behind that large tree?
It's actually to
down
the
the
right
side?
of the large tree.
Just
It's
right,
behind
okay.
all those fingerling trees. I think Blake
Oh.
finds a little tiny gap in the middle there. But yeah, you've really got to get it either right or left and hope that it gets behind all that.
Yeah. Now on shorter courses like this, what disc do you predominantly use? Do you mainly use, distance drivers, fairways, mid ranges?
A lot of mid-range. I only throw Buzz mid-range. But Brian, who's putting now, he throws driver a lot. Blake throws driver a lot. Anything that you got to really try to hyzer, I throw a fairway driver that's overstable. But other than that, I do throw a lot of mid-range here. we're all in for par, which is not bad on this hole. You can really get tangled up in some trees here and have a tough upshot looking at that basket. It's open if you can find the lane.
Yeah. Well, hole 7, 283 feet, just about the same as same distance as the last hole. It looks like this one's a little bit more straight, but it looks like you've got to either split between that Y tree, either go left or right. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. You can forehand to the left of that Y tree or backhand even to the right of that Y tree. You see Brian got his into the debris and it shut it down instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty
cool. The best forehand I've ever thrown on this hole. That's ideal right there. That's what you want if you're going left of the Y tree.
That's awesome. Yeah, you know, when you're making those distant putts, like I said, you know, it's good to have the debris to stop it. But if you're throwing your drive, you know, and it's gonna kill that disc and stop you from getting that extra distance or that extra skip that you need.
Yep. Yeah, like I noticed that was the best forehand I've thrown on this hole. It's such a tight window, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah. And I noticed on the last drive, so the last person threw kind of a big forehand, threw it up high. Now, is that feasible on this, or do you really have to kind of keep it low and keep it out of the...
Yeah, you can see above where Blake's throwing now, there's a lot of just branches, just skinny branches. Those oak trees branch out in crazy directions. So there's not a lot of openings high on this hole. You really got to stay down on this one.
Yeah. And is this a look for birdie for you?
It is. Yeah, it's about probably 25 feet, maybe 20 feet.
Wow, that's a great birdie.
Yes, I was super happy to birdie this hole. It's tough. Definitely tough to birdie this hole for us, our group anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, well deserved though. I mean, that's, you know, I feel like some of the most difficult holes are ones where you've got trees, you know, maybe 80, 90 feet just back from the basket. And so you have to plan your shots accordingly so that your disc land towards the end of their flight instead of trying to make like a mandatory right off the bat.
Yeah, speaking of mandatory, I don't know that there's any mandatories on this course. If there are, we don't see them or don't know of them. So we just kind of play it where we can.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine on wooded courses like this that you're really going to see a lot of mandatories or even really out of bounds because, you know, most of the time the trees are going to stop you from going out of bounds or lock you up in the woods, and there's really no need to call an OB for anything like that.
Now, this is an interesting hole. It looks really easy. It's downhill a little bit. You would think just a little flat mid-range shot would be perfect, but you got to be accurate to hit your spot there. So I think I caught some limbs. I think Blake's throwing here. I think he ended up a little bit left.
Well, that was a great approach by you too. Very smooth out of the hand, really nice and flat. I mean, it almost looked like it was maybe going to hit chain or, you know, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I wasn't even trying to run it. Man, Brian with a great putt there. I forgot about that shot. It was great.
Yeah, that was awesome. Looked like he was maybe about 65 feet from the basket. That was really impressive.
Deceiving a little bit. I don't know if it was that far, but it was definitely a long putt. And then my comeback par here. Blake had his par. Kind of that tester length, 25, 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Brian at 3 under.
You know, really, I mean, by the time you're hitting hole 9 here, 154 feet, I mean, if you're down, I mean, it's a great round so far. I mean, pretty impressive by all of you.
This is deceiving. Where your dad's filming from, it looks open, but when you're on the tee pad, it's really hyzer shot big time. You do have a little bit of height to play with here. That was a really rare backhand for Brian. He doesn't throw backhand. Now Blake's gonna try to get it around dogleg left here. Basket's kind of tucked under that pine tree, so you're really better off ending left here than ending right.
Yeah, it feels like you almost want to. You're almost forced to throw sort of a low hyzer, but I mean,
Hmm.
is there any way to throw kind of a high spike hyzer off the
Yeah.
tee?
Yep. It's just a little bit, like I said, you're better off finishing left here because you can see where Brian was throwing from. You're under that pine tree, even where Blake's throwing from. You gotta really line drive a putt from there. So being out to the left, you got all kinds of room. So yeah, you can throw one high spike, and end it out there to the left, which would leave you wide open for putts.
Yeah.
My tee shot was right under that tree, which was perfect. Just to tap in there, but Brian and Blake finished with a par. Their putts, you could see they just had a really low ceiling under that pine tree.
Yeah, those low ceilings are really tough, but great birdie on you. Hole 10, 200 feet.
Yeah, really a blind shot. So if you can see the dirt trail to the in between the dead trees and the pine trees, that the basket's down in there. It's kind of a little low bowl area down there. Um, Brian hit it perfect. Um, Mine actually went up and over the hill, and I think Blake's does too. I think you gotta be left of that pine tree, try to throw it at those dead trees or the empty trees right now, and you'll have a shot at it.
Yeah. It seems like you would want to maybe go backhand on this, but I feel like a forehand line would also work pretty well. Kind of throw something more of like on a Anheuser line.
Yeah,
Great birdie.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, man, that was probably like 35 feet. I think Blake. Oh, I thought he had this
Oh,
one. I think can't remember.
so close.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
tough luck.
frustrating. Just hitting the 2 inches low. Yeah, these baskets. I forgot the name of these, but they'll spit out some too. Out at Arcadia.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny. Randy and I were kind of talking about how, there's certain baskets. Oklahoma has been such a staple for disc golf. I mean, there's so many courses in the Oklahoma area, and not a lot of the courses are updated. So, some of these baskets and some of these holds and the tee pads are so old that you're really not playing with, the most updated equipment,
Mm-hmm.
And so, not that that's a bad thing. That's not a dig on, Oklahoma disc golf or anything by any means. We're just happy to have courses and stuff out in the area. But, um,
Yeah, another
I
thing
feel,
that, playing some of these wooded courses, it'll protect you from the wind. We're very prone to have high winds. So sometimes playing these wooded courses in the wind will help with putting and things like that. But this hole 11 is downhill, real tight off the tee. But if you can get it through the opening, you've got room down towards the basket. Brian with a nice birdie.
excellent birdie.
Yeah, he flexed the forehand again. He throws a lot of forehand, so he just kind of found the opening and let it turn left and fade back right. Left himself a really good putt there.
Yeah, Anheuser forehands off the tee are so touch and go. So it's impressive that he can, manipulate that so well. Just know his disc. I mean, it's very impressive. You don't see a lot of guys doing that nowadays. Well, hold 12, 264 feet.
Yeah, this is kind of a tricky window. It's about midway. You've got a tight window up there where that dirt patch is. So yeah, a flat forehand would be good. I go Anheuser backhand here, which I hit this perfect.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that was probably 1 in 100 shot for me. I usually find trees on this hole, but yeah, forehand flat would leave you in a good spot too. I think Blake's gonna go buzz here. Try to flex it. He gets it up a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it was a little bit more of an Anheuser angle than what he was wanting out of the hands, and so maybe that's where
Yeah, and this
dipped
is
a
one
little
of
bit
these
to the
tricky
right.
things about Arcadia right here is if you find yourself in the trees, you're looking for openings somewhere to even come out. So even though it's short, you can throw from woods right, woods left easy. So
Yeah. Well, it looks like he got out pretty clean, left
did.
himself, somewhat of a, testy putt.
Here's Brian again. He loves that flex shot. He's just got touch on it. That's a fairway driver. he's really good at that. That's something that he is really surprisingly so good at. Blake found an opening to get him a par out there. That was good. There's my tee
That
shot
was great.
on the right there. Brian tap in for par, but yeah, birdie for me on this hole is really rare. It's just such a tight window, just halfway down the fairways. Just you got to hit it perfect.
Yeah, that's a great birdie, especially with such a tight gap and throwing that backhand line. I mean, that was
Mm-hmm.
very, very clean, very good.
13, this is a hard dogleg right. Again, not very long. Your speed on this is really important. Just finding the right speed and hyzer and a backhand. Man, a flip over forehand here is tough, but I'm sure people are doing it. Um, Big pine tree on the left. As you're looking at this opening, it's a big pine tree on the left that you've got to try to cut right in front of. You can see both Brian and I get it up and pay the price for getting it into the trees there.
Yeah. And from the camera angle, it looks like this is pretty downhill. Is that right?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's downhill quite a bit. It's just a touchy shot. Like flipped it over a little too much.
Yeah, out of position from that.
Yeah, it's hard coming back through that stuff there. You can see he's not in an ideal spot.
Yeah. You obviously clear don't have a good line, so you're just kind of guesstimating on where, pin position is.
Yeah, just trying to throw something overhand or throw a thumb or something.
And how far are you from the basket?
Oh, I'm probably only 30 feet, but I had a branch right in front of me that I was trying to throw it low. Brian with a nice birdie.
Great birdie. Looks like still out of position from that.
Yeah, I think he has a look at it, but kind of uphill, branches in front of your face.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's funny. You think you have a window, right? So you aim for it and you just come up a little bit short, but some of these holes are deceiving when you got a tiny little window to throw it through.
And thrown on an uphill basket. I mean, it's never great. Well, hole 14, 186 feet. This one looks tough.
I don't know how to play this hole. I end up going just a big old overhand trying to get over this stuff. I end up quite a bit right, hitting trees. The gaps here seem like maybe 3 to 4 feet wide. I mean, just trying to find, you can see us through that gap, but hitting that gap's pretty challenging. Uphill, you can probably find 3 gaps. I think Brian tries to find one and actually does find a gap. That's incredible right there. Great shot by Brian.
Yeah, great throw. I mean, it really looks like you kind of have the option of going either left, right, or middle. But seems like the basket's a little bit off to the right. Oh no.
Yep, it is off to the right. Also, too, for beginning frisbee golfers, what we found, if you don't carry one of those expansion sticks, we either throw a softball or a baseball. They don't get stuck like frisbees. So Blake doesn't do a great job of hitting it, but baseballs and softballs are the way to go to get your frisbees down out of trees. And these pine trees just gobble up your discs. They're really challenging to get your disc out of these pine trees, but this one was low enough we could get a stick on the ground. But that's pretty typical for us on this hole, throw it in a tree somewhere.
Yeah, and that's tough. Living, now that I've moved out here to Fort Collins, we have a lot of pine trees and things of that nature out here. And so we see lots of discs just sitting high up in those pines. And there's just, unfortunately nothing you can do about them.
Yeah.
And then just kind of leave it and wait for the rain to knock it out of the tree.
Yep. Definitely recommend a baseball or a softball. You can wing it and try to hit the branch or even hit your disc.
Yeah, I feel like there's, people don't talk about it, but, there are some essentials for a disc golf bag. It's, it's not just a disc, but, maybe having, I just watched a video not too long ago about, kind of a older player talking about how he always keeps some ibuprofen. in his disc golf bag because he knows halfway through the round he's going to need, to pop about 400 milligrams of ibuprofen and get him through the rest of the round.
I can relate. Brian with a great birdie there. It's really tough. I mean, it's again, the distance isn't the thing. It's finding these gaps, and he hit that gap perfect, and with a pretty much a tap in putt left there.
Yeah.
This hole's funny. That tree's right in the middle, and if you walk by that tree, all you see is dents from the discs where people have just beaten that tree up.
Wow.
So yeah, you can go forehand or backhand. You just want to try to throw it down the middle. It's an easy hole until that tree in the middle gets your disc. So
yeah. Now, is this more of an S-line kind of shaped hole, or is it?
Nope, it is perfectly straight. That tree in the middle is basically in line with the basket. So if you can throw a flat shot, anything flat, forehand flat, backhand flat, anything that's flat, it's probably, gosh, I don't forgot what the distance was, but maybe 120 feet.
Yeah, it seems short.
Yes, this is a birdie look for me. I remember this, by the way. Caught a piece of it, but I was really wanting that one. I think Brian may have a birdie look here. Let's see, pretty sure this is for birdie. Oh, yep.
That's tough.
Yeah, I think we both wanted that one. Just missed an opportunity for both of us there.
And come back putt here for par.
Yeah.
Nice putt. Now, what do you putt with, Nick?
I actually putt with the Challenger. I've tried several putters, but I really like the Challenger feel. It doesn't have a rim on it, which I don't like on my fingers. I also practice in my backyard. I ended up buying a basket. So I've thrown a lot of putters and just really settled on the Challenger.
Awesome.
I wish I could tell you what Brian and Blake putt with. I don't remember what their putters are, but this one's kind of a funny hole. It doesn't look like it from this angle, but it's a pretty tight opening. But once you get it out of there, it's wide open, uphill a little bit. So you just got to try to get it through that pine tree on your right. You do have to throw a little Anheuser backhand here or a forehand. Gotcha. I think I get an incredible skip here, yeah.
Wow, that is a great skip.
Super good skip there. I think Brian's up there deep right. I think Blake's going to go forehand here.
And I saw that the hole's only about 195 feet, so you're not having to throw something full power.
Yep. Yeah, I threw a mid-range here, which I was surprised I got that much skip on a mid-range, but
yeah.
Wide open. Once you come out of that initial hole, this hole's wide open.
Love the Barsby style putt there.
Yeah.
And so did you throw you said you pretty much just keep a buzz as a mid-range?
I've tried rock threes. I just, for whatever reason, the buzz for me is just so dependable. I know exactly what it's going to do. No matter how you throw it, whatever angle you put on, it's pretty much what you're going to get. So I've got probably 3 or 4 buzzes, one overstable, the rest of them are just regular. But yeah, I really like buzzes.
Yeah. So now we're looking at hole 17, 229 feet.
Yeah, kind of a tricky, throw it flat and let it finish hyzer. Kind of to the left where you can see our discs are going, but you actually need to go a little more right and then let that disc finish left. Again, not a long hole. You could throw something out there and let it skip right would be ideal. I think Blake almost makes the corner. We're all in the same spot over there.
Yeah. And so from this position, how much, how far to the pin are you?
Probably 60 to 70. Where Blake was from was probably about 70 feet.
And that looks like a tough break.
Yeah, again, all the tree limbs and all the stuff over here. I actually got really lucky and it skipped through all of that. It stayed low. Oh, that's frustrating. Get a lot of that out here at Arcadia, just catching a limb. I'd say, from where Blake and Brian are now, maybe 40 feet. I'm guessing maybe 40 feet for Brian here. Got it up. The limbs almost helped him.
Yeah.
This is my drive. I'm throwing it out of the tree.
Oh, wow.
Super lucky putt.
That's a great birdie. I feel like those are rare, especially coming from behind the tree.
Yeah. You see me brushing all the debris off. I had to get up in that tree and find an opening in those limbs.
All right. Final hole here, hole 18. So what's this hole like?
This one again is deceiving. It's really straight, downhill just slightly. If you could throw anything flat, not like that, but if you could throw something flat towards that middle tree, let it finish left, you'd have a good look at it. I just did not get it flat. Mine was stuck on the hyzer.
Yeah.
I think Brian catches that same tree. Got to keep it low here. You can't go anything too high. I do know that's a shrike that Blake's thrown there.
Looks like you got quite a bit of distance.
Yeah, that angle. You definitely want to be right here. You'd rather be right than left because now you're dealing with a, tough, lots of limbs, and then you still got to keep it low and then let it finish to the left for backhand.
Yeah, you're kind of left with minimal options, from that position. Looks like you can either go over all of those trees, which would be a big shot blind, or you're trying to do a really big hook hyzer and maybe get a little extra skip.
Yeah, from where Brian and I were throwing from, I was actually thinking about that. I was going to try to throw a skip shot or something. You don't want to be left here. And Brian and I both finished left again. So you pay the price going left on this hole.
Yeah. And I'm guessing you all kind of ended up, or at least it looked like you all ended up. Wow, there's a
catches metal.
Yeah.
That's
Looked
where
like
Blake's drive was. That was where you want to be.
Yeah, that seemed like the perfect area if you're, just going for a par.
Yeah, that was tough. I was hoping to finish bogey free. I got bogey on 18. I know Brian went 17 and 18 bogeys for him too. So that's me on the left with the red, white, and blue hat. Blake's in the middle, turned his hat backwards, and then Brian's coming in on the right. We're all from Edmond. Most of us went to middle school and high school together. Actually, we all went to middle school and high school together. So we've been friends a long time, but just started Frisbee.
And that's great. It's, I feel like Frisbee's given everybody kind of the ability to reach out to old friends, start something new together. And it's just, it's a great sport to be a part of. So thank you all for tuning in to Mayfly Disc Golf. Please make sure and like and subscribe. And a really, really big thank you to Nick for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming and doing the commentary with us.
Thanks for having me, and thanks to your dad for filming. That was great.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll just stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the course.